Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is honor turn 56. It's kind of late right now, so I'm going to make this turn relatively brief. In terms of messages, it looks like Uruk mind-hunted one of my scouts, which is a little unfortunate. They were probably aiming for somebody else. A number of battles. Agartha took a province back from Abyssia over here, so they busted out of their fort, but Abyssia had, I think, already shifted all their armies to besiege this province. Abyssia bounced some hellspawns off Pythium. Tianqi is still taking provinces from Pythium, which is nice to see. And Tianqi also attacked Abyssia, interestingly. So Tianqi is fighting on all fronts, I believe, which is fair because Abyssia seems to be pretty close to running away with the game, to be fully honest. This was super unfortunate. So there was a battle in the Brightwoods. Let's show this battle real quick. This was another demonstration of the Phlegra Tyrant super combatant strategy, or heavy thug in this case, because he's not very well geared. But he does have the magic to reinvigorate himself and cast Phoenix Pyre. So I've just got a whole bunch of dudes. I've got this. I've got my prophet here. I've got Yazrid ibn Hasar the High Magus. I've got a whole bunch of infantry and ghouls and stuff. He's used up pretty much all of his gems casting anti-magic and such, so with the anti-magic my magic resistance is higher, which is really nice. And his magic resistance is actually 23, counting the different bonuses. I don't know why he has a magic bonus of 6. I thought it should be 8, because he cast... Oh, no, because he got anti-magic, and then he also has the Lodestone Amulet. Also, which reminds me, I have not been forging amulets of anti-magic, which I should have been doing since I have Astral now, but in any case. So it's just a bunch of Vans here, and then one Vanadrot, Snorri, with his Faithful, which gives him luck and affliction resistance. My infantry get routed. I'm not sure what exactly happened back here. Yazrid ibn Hasar has routed, and so he's running off the field. And he's marked as dead in the battle report. So I guess he routed into enemy territory and died or something. But in any case, everybody routes from HP, and my tyrant is left here fighting these Vans, and he beats them. He's at fatigue 3. He's fatigue neutral. His hit points drop pretty low, but he kills all of these Vans just one at a time, just blowing them up with his firebrand. And you can see they all run away, and then he runs up to the Vanadrot, and the Vanadrot is stabbing him with wolves. He's acquired a limp, which, you know, it happens. These things happen to tyrants, it's okay. Not the worst affliction in the world for him, because it just slows him down, and him being slow does not make him any less beefy. So he goes and he fights this Vanadrot, and he kills him. And then, but at the end of the battle, he's down to 7 hit points, right? Okay, so he gets hit by Wrath of God and killed. A random lightning bolt from the sky just hits him and deals its 8 armor negating damage and kills him, because apparently, I did not know this, but units apparently don't heal until like the beginning of the next turn or something. So he won and killed everyone and then died, which is really sad. Yeah, that sucks. Unexpected events, curses, lost some income, barbarian scouts, and unrest. That misfortune hit me again. Independence attacked Tianqi and lost to province defense. Primarily, I think, from that eunuch pushing it upwards. And that is all the events this turn. So what I'm doing this turn, fairly simple. I'm moving armies up here to attack Vanheim. This army is actually standing still and researching. I'm waiting for him to come attack Shinyama. Moving more troops up. These armies, these guys, I had them moving, didn't I? Yeah, let's move them up this way as well. Build up some forces. We are going to have to move through Bright Woods kind of quickly because it doesn't have many supplies, and I do not have supply items forged because I haven't taken the time to do so, and also because I lost my Thistle Mace when the Lizard Shaman carrying it died, I believe. Yeah, it's gone. So I actually do need to forge another Thistle Mace. But HULK SMASH gives me a supply bonus of 50, which is pretty neat for moving these huge armies around, because my armies require a lot of supplies. Like you can see, I'm using almost 500 supplies here, 250 here, 150 there. moving through Bright Woods is going to be an exercise in logistical care. We should send this guy along with, because he provides a little bit of supply bonus. Poor Astros is going to die of his disease, and Perseus is also diseased. I don't know why. I don't know what is causing the diseases. I'm not getting messages about, like, Bane Venom charms or anything, so hopefully everything's fine. Research-wise, I would really, really like to have more research than I do now, but I don't, because I'm kind of busy moving all my mages around to fight. I'm going to hit Conjuration level 8 pretty soon. That will get me access to the Well of Misery, although it'll be a little while before I can cast it. After that, I'm going to go down to Enchantment level 8, which will give me Lichcraft, and level 7 will get me the Ritual of Rebirth. This will let me bring back some of my heroes in the Hall of Fame. I don't think it would let me bring back Electos. That would be kind of a hilariously buggy interaction, because Electos is, of course, still alive. But it will let me bring back Slab, Brickjaw, and Aristottle, which will be nice, because Slab Brickjaw especially is Death 2, and so I'd love to have him back. And they'll come back as mummies. So that is, and there's Asmodel the Angel of Fury and Shemael the Archangel. I believe I killed both of those, so go me. I may not have actually finally killed Shemael. I don't know. I think I did. I like to imagine I did. I'm going to claim that I did. Down here, I'm moving troops and a couple of mages to deal with this little rebellion and get me back my Well of Pestilence and my Enchanted Pyre. Gem income, doing pretty solid. I'm well over 50 gems per turn. I could use more, but then I can always use more. I do need to do a little bit more site searching up here, I think, but I've kind of been busy. So, that is the plan. And we will see how it progresses. Like I said, pretty short one today. I'm tired, it's late. And we will see how Vanheim... Army consists of mainly sisters. Huh, interesting. Monks, I guess, or nuns, something like that. Anyway, we'll see how Vanheim and my war goes. I'm not honestly committing a whole lot of gems because I don't want to commit gems to battle right now. I don't have enough. I need to save up death gems like really a lot. I would also like to be saving up fire and astral pearls. I'm going to be using some astral pearls to craft a couple of astral boosters so that I'll have people active to cast Dispel. I've also solicited donations of fire gems in order to cast Fate of Oedipus, which I can do with Clytius here, or Clytius, or Perseus. Any Fire 3, I can put my Fire hat on, and then they can cast Fate of Oedipus, which will take away the Eyes of God. Now, it's the Wrath of God that is hitting people with lightning bolts, and so we also need to take that away, but that will cost a Dispel. The Eyes of God I can do guaranteed with Fate of Oedipus, and I don't have to roll for it. It will just die. Which would be really, really nice because I hate it. It's a huge strategic advantage for Abyssia, and I want to strip away Abyssia's strategic advantages as much as possible because he has too many and he's winning too hard. So, Pythium and I are maintaining our truce, more or less, and we will continue to do so for the next little while here until we kind of figure out what's going on. All these mages are just going to stand here researching. These guys can patrol. You can research until you die, Astros. Perseus, you can also research until you die. I don't have anything to save you. I'm not going to bother trying. You're fairly cheap mages. You're disposable. You're replaceable. Welcome to Phlegra. Hope you don't die too quick. And yeah, that is the entirety of my turn this turn. Getting mages, getting mages, getting mages. Good, everything's doing fine. Do I need more oppressors down here, really? No. Just recruit slaves, please. And up here, I'm short on resources, so let's turn some of those guys into archers. In fact, let's turn them all into archers. We can drop flaming arrows on them and use them to bust the glamour on all the vans that are up here. So, okay. That's going to be the turn. I will see you all in turn 57. Alright, folks, it is turn 57, and, well, this might actually be the last turn of the game, which I know is surprising to hear me say, because I have not been talking about that, and that's because I haven't been thinking about it. I have been completely blindsided by this, but I want you to notice something before I even start talking about my nation. That's a throne. That's a throne, which Abyssia has just taken. If we look at the messages, so Mudwood, Abyssia just took here. They took this province, Fenica. They took Solian. They've already got that one. If you look at the thrones, Abyssia already has 5 points. I've been told, I mean, I don't have vision in all of Abyssia's territory, so I guess I can be excused for not knowing this quite, although I've lost a lot of scouts over there. Abyssia already has the throne of Winter in their territory. And those 2 thrones in Agartha, I believe, are the throne of the sun and the throne of the stars, because those are the other unclaimed ones. Well, so Abyssia, if Abyssia puts anathemate dragons, which they can recruit, and those are holy 3, so they can claim thrones. If they have anathemate dragons on all 3 of those thrones and claim them this turn, they win. Just like that. If that's true, and it may well be true, then they have successfully carried out a throne rush without me noticing. Which is a little bit embarrassing, but it happens sometimes, and this is how, if a game is going to end before Cataclysm, basically this is how it ends. So, there was a battle in Fenica. I saw the battle in Fenica, so let's take a look at that battle real quick. This was Abyssia attacking Agartha. They do have an anathemate dragon here. In fact, they have 2 anathemate dragons. Plus a couple of warlocks. That warlock looks like it's been empowered. And then a huge army of troops. They've got Hellspawn, which are their native spawnable from their native blood spell. They've got Hellbred Giants, same thing. They've got a whole bunch of Lava Warriors, which are their sacreds. And Lava Warriors are actually pretty beefy. High protection, very high attack skill, especially when leveled up. Ambidextrous and armed with 2 Morning Stars that do very solid damage based off their very high strength. They are also Berserkers. So Lava Warriors are really pretty good. They're expensive, and there are some fairly simple counters, especially considering their high encumbrance. But they're solid. And he has quite a lot of them. The downside to them is they're bad formation fighters, so you can only fit 2 in a square. But he has quite a few of those. He also has a whole bunch of blood slaves with his Adepts of the Silver Order over here. One of whom is wearing a shroud. Interesting. Yeah, so this is a very big, very beefy Abyssian army. Opposing it is basically just a whole bunch of Agarthan mages. And Agartha here demonstrates, not to be down on Asajin, but he's demonstrated a fundamental misunderstanding here. So, Abyssia is spamming buffs on his troops, while Agartha starts casting frickin' Blade Wind or something. We've got a storm going up, which makes it hard to use fire magic, which is a good idea against Abyssia if they're using a whole lot of fire magic, which they aren't. And then Agartha starts casting just a lot of magma bolts, like really a lot of magma bolts. Here's the problem with magma. He also got Rust Mist. Rust Mist is a good idea, but here's the problem with magma bolts. Especially now, Abyssia has cast Barkskin on their Lava Warriors. Now, Barkskin makes you less resistant to fire, but I think they've actually cast Mass Protection is what they've done. Because they have a shaman back here who is leading a communion. They also have a fire elemental standing here next to the blood slaves, which are currently susceptible to fire, so that'll be fun. But basically for Abyssians, paradoxically, Barkskin doesn't hurt them because they're already fire resistant 25. So all Barkskin does is bring it down to 20, and it kicks their protection up by like 6 points. So these Lava Warriors are now prot 24. Magma Bolts does 25 bludgeoning damage. So on average, it's not hurting the Lava Warriors hardly at all. Like I said, the Rust Mists are a pretty decent idea, but, well. And then, of course, he casts Fog Warriors as well. So now all of his lava warriors are pretty much immune to things, to like being hurt in general. Basically what I'm saying is it's a bad time, and this army storms through without hardly suffering any damage. I mean, they take a few casualties, but not many. Not many casualties at all. There may be a few deaths among the Mekonian slaves back here, but in any case. So in Fenica, yeah, 8 casualties all told. None of the mages died, and he has his anathema dragons here, as well as his hellspawn leaders and shaman and warlocks and adepts of the Silver Order and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, Abyssia might just win next turn. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that. I've ended our non-aggression pact, but it's too little too late. He caught me with my pants down. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm attacking Vanheim here. I retook this province and Bright Woods. Wait, I actually retook that last turn. I retook Jintmark from the neutrals that had taken it. And that battle, there was some cool stuff happening in that battle. My Trophimos Oppressor was casting pretty serious spells. So he only had a magic boost of 1, so he was only level 2. Actually, yeah, I don't think he was really casting much. Basically, I just charged him with heavy cavalry. Is he casting Iron Warriors? Oh no, he's casting Magma Eruption. Yep, there we go. He's just blasting Macemen with magma. Very appropriate. These sorcerers back here are dumping out tons and tons of undead, but my knights are more than up to the task of killing undead, and they charge in and slaughter everybody and attack this Fire Lord and kill him, and it's all over but the crying. Did take some casualties among the heavy cavalry, but they did a very good job. They did a lot of work there. In Sleepy Mountains, I actually bounced off these knights because I forgot how awful helots are when they're not supported. Basically what happened was they started to take casualties and then they ran. And I had gotten so used to having buffs and mages and huge numbers that I forgot that helots do this. They just frickin' run away. I legitimately forgot how awful they are. So that was a disappointment. Not that it really matters at this stage of the game. And I was besieged in Shinuyama. So this giant Vanheim army has rolled right up to Shinuyama and they are attacking me. Which is, you know, fair. That's what I would do in their position probably. Although I probably would have attacked Agartha instead. But they've gotten in. They killed the province defense. And they are besieging the fortress. They did take a surprising number of casualties from my province defense. I mean, really, like 5 kills on Helot warriors. That's almost impressive. None of them were among the Vans, though, of which they have 123. So this is a very large and scary army. I have prepared a relatively scary welcome party for them. I only have about 120 units all told. Well, 120 infantry. But I'm set up to cast Storm. Then we're going to summon Storm Power. We're going to cast Wind Guide on our missiles. We're going to cast Mist Form. We're going to spam out some Marble Warriors and Magma Eruptions. We're going to summon Earth Power, cast Weapons of Sharpness on our troops. What else should I do? I should cast Flaming Arrows, probably. Yeah, summon Earth Power, then instead of Marble Warriors, how about you cast Flaming Arrows? Come on, Flaming Arrows. Where's enchantment? There it is. Drop Flaming Arrows, and then you can spam out some Maws of the Earth. So you are going to need a couple of Fire Gems, 1 or 2. So basically we're just dropping every buff in the book. And we'll have Misty, Marble, Warriors. And then we'll have some Thunder Strikes and some Maws of the Earth, some damage spells. Since they'll all be funneling through the gate, assuming they attack me, I think my super buffed infantry will be able to take them. So, that's the plan there. I don't have any way to affect Abyssia. Literally none. I can't reach them. I can't touch them. Of interest, the Eyes of God actually went down this turn from something. I don't know if the caster was killed or what. But I also I'd done a whole lot of diplomacy and gotten people to send me gems to dispel the eyes of God. And, well, instead I'm empowering Perseus so that I can give him a Skull of Fire and the Helmet of Fire and then cast Eternal Pyre, which seems like a good idea to me. If somebody asks for their gems back, I will give them their gems back. But nobody has asked, so we'll just carry on, I guess. So yeah, but Abyssia, this might be the last turn. Abyssia might just win next turn, and if that happens, I know it will be a very anticlimactic end to the game. But I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes that's just how Dominions goes. This, like, look at this. Look at this. Like, every scout I've sent in this direction has been killed, and it's just kind of been an unfortunate confluence of geography that's caused that. This fort, these two forts right here being heavily patrolled means any scouts coming down from down this way get killed. Vanheim's forts over here being very heavily patrolled. Like, there's just a ring of forts around this part of the map that catch and kill almost any scout that tries to go into this area. It's actually been quite frustrating, and it's meant that throughout the whole game, I have not had a really good read on how dangerous Abyssia is. Like, I knew they were dangerous, but I've kind of been relying on this and looking at this and going like, okay, they've got 5 points. That's not too bad. Well, that changed really rapidly. And yeah, I was blindsided. That's all there is to it. I was not prepared for what was happening. So in any case, that's turn 57. In terms of what I'm doing, building up death gems, empowering Perseus in fire to then hand him boosters and use him to cast Eternal Pyre if the game goes that long. But it's gonna, boy, it's really gonna depend. I mean, it is... I do not know what's gonna happen here, but I doubt... I mean, I doubt Abyssia is gonna lose at this point, because even if they're not set up to claim these thrones this turn, they can, at this point, probably hold off anyone who might attack them for long enough. Like, my only hope for affecting Abyssia is to beat Vanheim and then carve a path this way to hit that throne. That's like the quickest I've got. Or potentially charge through here to hit that throne. But either way, I have to move through a whole bunch of provinces and then I have to fight a big, scary army. So, I don't think... I think I'm out of this game. I think whether this game is won or lost by Abyssia immediately depends almost entirely on Pythium. If Pythium can manage to take this throne, like, now, in, like, 2 turns, maybe. If not, I think Abyssia's got it in the bag. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in turn 58. Whatever happens then, it'll be a fascinating little climax. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is Honor turn 58, and the game is over. As you can see here, what I was talking about last turn came to pass. I noticed it way too late. Abyssia claimed all those thrones that I was talking about, so they've got 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. And that means that Barana, goddess who knows all things, herder of men, friend of the dead, great ruler of Abyssia, is now the one true god, the Pantocrator, the god of all, and all the false pretenders have been banished to, as they say, places of darkness and eternal suffering. All armies have been removed. All the play is over. There is nothing more to do. No more competition to be had. The world belongs to Barana now. Actually, am I not seeing armies? Yeah, they've just removed all armies from visibility. You can still tell that they're there because of the flags and stuff, but the map is no longer showing them to you, except for, interestingly, independent units. So that's it. All my struggles up here in the north ultimately mattered not at all. The game was decided in the fields of Abyssia and in the lands of Agartha that Abyssia assaulted and took. Here at Fenica, with the Throne of the Stars. Here in Doral Woods, with the Throne of the Sun. and of course with the Throne of Winter in Abyssian land. So ultimately, it was all for naught. Vanheim did not attack me, so we did not get to see my magic fight their army. There was one huge and interesting battle here in Carrion, where Uruk fought with Pythium, and for some reason my game is being a little bit slow. But as you can see, huge army on Uruk's side. They've got a pretty decent grip of trolls, Enkidu heavy archers up front. They've got 2 large lines of Enkidu Iron Warriors up front, and then more Enkidu Iron Warriors in the back. They have a number of Maidens of the Moon mixed in, which are Enkidu Uruk Sacred. They are blessed because they're with their Pretender God, and their bless is shock resistance, precision, reinvigoration, and regeneration. So not a very focused bless, but a very powerful one. Maidens of the Moon are interesting mainly because they have high stats, and they have formation fighter, so despite being size 3, they can fit 3 of them in a square, which makes them fairly effective. Mage-wise, he has a number of Ereshtingars, which are powerful astral mages. He has a few of these NCs, this one is very badly beaten up, who are relatively weak and unfocused mages. A couple of summoned Manticores up front, also quite a few Mashmashus, which are his capital-only mages, carrying a large number of pearls. This particular one is also carrying a Dwarven Hammer, so this looks like he's breaking out of his capital with this army. So you can see there's a Mashmashu there, there's a Mashmashu there, there's a Mashmashu here, along with an Ereshtingar. There's quite a lot of magical power, in addition to this Ugalu, who he has summoned, who is an Air 3 mage. His Pretender Goddess, Ruvelia, the Anunnaki of Love and War, who is Air 4, Earth 4, Nature 7. He's kitted her out with some stuff. Cornucopia, Bright Mail Halbergen, an Ivy Crown, and an Enchanted Sword. Kind of a, once again, not definitely a super combatant gearing, but just items that he had around that he thought might help. We've also got a Troll Shaman up here with the Banner of the Northern Star to cast Light of the Northern Star right off the bat. Light of the Northern Star. Ha! I just got home from work. So yeah, it's a big army. It also includes a number of Draconians. In terms of magic, lots of magic. It remains to be seen what his plan for it is, and a number of Kusarikus that he's summoned. These are the Ur/Uruk National Summon. They're just sacred bowlmen with 2 spear, 2 attacks, including one that has this Halt Demon effect. And quite high strength and decent stats across the board. Lots of hit points, so regeneration goes very well with them. Pythium, on the other side, has a great huge line of Roman infantry. Up front, they have a line of Emerald Guard, the very best of their infantry. They have a whole bunch of angels. They've got an Archangel there, another Archangel here, Mumaya, and then they also have a Harbinger. And they have a large communion, as always, of Theurg Communicants, Theurgs, and Arch-Theurgs, in addition to some Angels of the Host back here, and a Lar with pretty significant gearing. And it looks like they also have their Lumber Construct Thug. So, first of all, lots of communioning on both sides, as is appropriate when you have 2 big astral nations fighting. I do not know why my game is lagging like this, but Pythium then drops all his spells. Barkskin, Fog Warriors, Living Clouds, all kinds of things. The Draconians come charging in. I really don't... Okay, one second. I have to figure out what's going on and fix this. Hold, please. Okay, I think I figured it out. Steam was trying to download something in the background. But in any case, Living Clouds going down, Fog Warriors, all that good stuff that we've been fighting this whole time. Uruk comes charging in. Lots of magic going off on all sides, but mainly the issue is just that Uruk has no easy answer to the Fog Warrior infantry. The Air Elemental's doing quite a bit of damage, and more importantly, disruption back here, along with the Angels, of course. But, to my way of thinking, the main problem here is just that, as I said, the Enkidu are not able to kill the Pythium infantry with any level of efficiency, and they're getting just sort of out-killed. Principes are not hugely dangerous units, but, I mean, in terms of the damage they inflict. But even when starving, I mean, they do still hit, and when they're almost impossible to kill because they have luck and mist form, so they ignore 3/4 of fatal blows, and they have mist form, so they only do 1 point of damage unless they're hit really, really hard. And they have protection 23. It's just like, they're almost impossible to deal with. In the back, the Theurg Communicants are racking up fatigue, but I don't think it's going to save the Uruk army. In the back, this Harbinger is just fighting his little heart out. He is getting a little bit mobbed. We've got a Howl down, we've got a Relief down on, I think, Uruk's side. So, but even so, Uruk's Iron Warriors are starting to get fatigued out because they have encumbrance. Well, that one only has encumbrance 6, but that one has encumbrance 11. Because he has a chest wound. Even so, with encumbrance 6, they're not really building up fatigue. But then neither are the... Well, the Principes actually are, but the Principes are just freaking invulnerable. Lots of spellcasting. The Theurg Communicants are still okay. It looks like this ends up being a long battle. Somebody is flying. Who's flying? But the Uruk's infantry is basically gone at this point. The Theurg Communicants are still fine so far. And the Anunnaki here, the poor goddess of Uruk, has now been completely surrounded. She is enraged, paralyzed. She's carrying a global enchantment. She's enlarged, so this must be his Mother Oak caster. And yeah, I think Uruk's army is basically gone. Mumia the Archangel is just about to finish things off over there. Pythium's Communion continues to cast, though, so it remains to be seen. They're spamming Holy Word, which shouldn't be causing any fatigue. Yeah, it's not. But, Rubelia, the Anunnaki of Love and War, is once again just existing while regenerating. She has 20% regeneration. So she's regenerating, I believe, about 30 hit points around. And he is unable to kill her because she's been totally surrounded by his infantry and she is paralyzed. So he's running afoul of the same problem that he ran into when he fought my Tyrant. Which is that he has a great defensive setup here, but it's not one that allows him to cause damage quickly. And you can see his Theurg Communicants, I mean, they're still hovering around 100 fatigue. In the back, Mumia is just murdering mages one by one, just at a rate of 1 per round. But that doesn't really help, because the problem is Revelia, and Revelia is not dying. And in fact, paralyzing her, as his mages love to do when they're off script, is only hurting the problem. So the battle runs on, and I suspect at this point that Pythium actually loses, just because he can't deal with Revelia. I wish I could speed this up a little faster, but it's going as fast as it can, unfortunately. But I think we know how this ends, to be honest. Let me see if they pull off a miracle. No, they're not gonna. She's still at literally full health, and paralyzed for another 27 rounds. This can only end one way. Eventually, Pythium's troops are gonna rout here. I'm impressed with his communion. It's not... Yeah, there they go. They're running. So, yeah, they can't... they're all gonna run away. And she is going to sit there. Pythium might still win, because since she can fly, as soon as she recovers from paralysis, she can just fly away. And thus, the units that are still on the field when that happens will be spared. But, yeah, Mumia has actually also gone berserk. I wonder how he managed to do that. None of the items that he's holding would do it. He must have cast a spell. But, yeah, the only infantry that aren't running are the ones that are fatigued out. All the feared communicants are also staying. But as soon as Revelia wakes up... Oh, she's awake. She's awake and not running. Interesting. Up. There we go. We hit the end, and everyone on the field was wiped out. So, a fitting end, I think. Uruk did lose almost their entire army. Well, they saved about 200 units survived, all told. Their mage corps was devastated. They did lose their pretender god. Pythium lost all 3 of their major angel summons, 1 of their Theurgs, 7 angels of the host, a whole bunch of infantry, albeit only about a third, and 29 Theurg communicants. A whole bunch of more troops would have been killed when they retreated. But in any case, none of that really matters all that much, because the game is over. So, to do a bit of a recap of the game, strategically, or, well, let me pull that back. Tactically, I'm satisfied with how I did in this game, pretty much. I could have done better, and I did learn a lot through the course of this game about how to play Phlegra. I will definitely be interested in playing Phlegra again at some point. Yeah, all garrison units, it looks like, have just been removed. In fact, we can't see any units whatsoever. So, I did learn a lot about how to play Phlegra. I'm more or less satisfied with my performance. I could have done some things better. Notably, the war against Shinuyama, I could have prosecuted a lot better. I could have, if I had just tightened up on things, if I had paid more attention, if I had not been taken by surprise by that Howl early on, the Howl skill spam combo, I would have done a lot better. If I had paid more attention to my tyrants. I was gearing tyrants, but, yeah, you can see everyone is now defeated. But, I was not gearing them properly or well, or in the right way or well enough. Early on, I should have paid a lot more attention to defense. I should have used them more as big casters and less as thugs, because Phlegra tyrants pretty much remained vulnerable until fairly late in the game, unless you give them the right gear, which I wasn't. I wasn't paying enough attention to giving them vine shields, which I had the access to do. I should have been forging Thistle Maces, Vine Shields, and Rings of Regeneration a lot more frequently and a lot earlier, because giving them regeneration and giving them the Vine Shields that have that entangling effect would have increased their lifespan quite a bit. And I lost several Phlegra Tyrants when I didn't really need to, when I could have used them either as big casters, or I could have geared them better and probably kept them alive. There were some battles that I probably could have won or at least tied, and inflicted much more damage to Shinuyama without that. The war with Shinuyama was when I stalled, basically. Up until then, I was doing okay. I had a solid border with Pythium. I'd taken over Marignon's territory over here. The war with Shinuyama took, I want to say, probably 6 or 8 turns too long. And in the ideal world, I would have taken this part of Shinuyama a lot more quickly, and then moved straight on to attack probably Vanheim or possibly Agartha. And that should have been my move. Fighting Agartha earlier would have been better. Being able to take some of Agartha's territory and secure some of their thrones would have put me in a much, much better position in the late game. Other alternative, could have gone to war with Tianqi. The issue with that is, war with Tianqi would not have gained me much, strategically speaking, because there are no thrones over here except that one. That is the high throne, so claiming the high throne would have been decent. But overall, I still think I would have been better off to fight either Agartha or just eat Vanheim, which would have been probably fairly simple. I would have taken some damage, but if I'd kind of tightened up on my communion scripting, I think I could have done it. Overall impressions of Phlegra from this game, I like Phlegra. I really, really do. I think they're a great nation. I think they're stronger than my showcase really gives them credit. That said, they do definitely have limitations. Overall, I think I have to readjust my expectations of the communions. Phlegra communions are not the best in the age, even with their special ability. I think I would call them second. And the reason why I call them second is because Pythium, which before I was talking about, basically I talked up the downsides of Pythium, and Pythium's communions do have downsides compared to Phlegra's, but Pythium has the Theurg communicants. The Theurg communicants effectively double Pythium's mage recruitment, which is something that I mentioned earlier, but they can be recruiting one of these every turn out of every fort, in addition to a mage, which means that they can build up much larger and therefore much more powerful communions than anyone else very rapidly. Well, relatively rapidly. In addition, the fact that they have astral and air magic in their communions, while slightly less flexible than Phlegra communions, not much less flexible, but slightly less flexible, does make them quite powerful, because air magic, of course, especially high-level air magic, gives them a lot of power, and astral magic gives them a lot of power. Astral magic lets them cast the, I forget what it's called, the spell that gives all of the friendly units luck. It lets, and Mistform. And Mistform and luck in combination like that make a unit nearly invincible. Just straight up almost invincible to anything except magic weapons, and highly resistant even to magical weapons. In addition, they have Holy in their communions. The fact that they start with Air 2 and Astral 3 means that when they're buffed up by a huge communion, they can easily reach level 8 or 9, which allows them to cast the most powerful spells in the game, or cast just normal spells without worrying hardly at all about fatigue. Theurgs. Theurgs are extremely powerful mages still. Even Theurg acolytes are okay. They're reasonably efficient research monkeys. I should have leveraged my research more, because I have the Shackled Mages, and Shackled Mages in Magic 3 are incredibly efficient researchers. But more than that, I have Trophimos Sages, and Trophimos Sages are also efficient researchers. I should have recruited more Sages, as weird as it sounds since I'm talking about communion strength. I should have recruited more Sages, because they're all usable mages with effective powers, and I have the ability to link them into a communion if I want them in a communion by spending gems. And they're much faster researchers, so what I probably should have done strategically is I should have spent more time and effort recruiting Trophimos Sages, built up my research, and possibly Oppressors, but Oppressors are old, and so they tend to get afflictions over time. So Sages in Magic 3 would be researching at like 14 points a turn. If I'm pumping out 4 or 5 of those per turn, then my research is growing. That could potentially have allowed me to beat Pythium in research, and having higher and more focused research would have been amazingly valuable. If I had managed to hit Alteration 7 earlier, if I had managed to beat him to Alteration 7 and gotten my Fog Warriors and my Marble Warriors active before he got his Fog Warriors active, that would have been incredibly powerful. Reaching Alteration 7, of course, would also have let me activate the Phoenix Pyre Soul Vortex combo a lot quicker on my Tyrants, which is what's really needed in order to make them true super combatants. So basically, I spread my research out too much. Alteration 7, I think, in retrospect, Alteration 7 has to be the very first level 7 research you go for as Phlegra, and you should probably go for it early, based off the research strength of your Shackled Mages and Trophimos Sages. And I think if you do that, you can get there pretty quickly, a lot more quickly than I did. Like, I didn't reach Alteration 7 until turn 50-something. I think if you're focused on it, you might be able to hit it by turn 40. I mean, don't quote me on that, because I haven't exactly done a whole lot of testing, but I feel like you might be able to make it. Other than that, I feel like I was kind of getting a handle on what I needed to do to win big late game battles by the end. The Helots, mass Helots, are really only good once I hit high levels of buffing. They're usable before then, certainly, but Alteration 7 and especially Alteration 9 would make Helots very powerful. Construction 7 also does help Helots. I never really got to show it off because by that time I was fighting the war mainly against Pythium, who is leaning heavily on Fog Warriors. If I had ever fought a war with Agartha, Weapons of Sharpness would have been MVP, because Agartha's high protection-reliant troops would have gone down in droves in front of Weapons of Sharpness. So, didn't really get a chance to show that off as well as I could have, but still, that's the important thing. So I think, like I said, magic-wise, I needed to hit Alteration 7 earlier. I should have probably hit Construction 7 after that, in order to get Weapons of Sharpness. I didn't have many Earth Gems this game. Only near the end did I even hit plus 10. To be honest, I was a little bit low on gems in general. But Yeah, 10 Earth Gems per turn. What I really would have wanted to do would be throw up Earthblood Deepwell and or Riches from Beneath. Now, in the Middle Age, Earthblood Deepwell is hard because there are lots of nations that have good Earth access. And to be honest, Phlegra does not have fantastically high level Earth access. You've got a lot of Earth access, but you can get 3 on a Tyrant, you can get 3 on a Cyclops. But boosting 3 to 7, 6 or 7 is hard. Yeah, I was never going to win a race to Earthblood Deepwell with Agartha in the picture. But, anyway. So yeah, strategically speaking, my missteps were focusing too much on Pythium over here, and not dealing with Shinuyama more quickly. Now, to be fair, Great Grey Strike is an excellent player. He just straight outplayed me when it came to our war. I only won because I had massively more resources, to be quite frank. If the resources had been equal, he probably would have kicked the crap out of me. But leveraging my overwhelming force took me too long, basically, and I, having him come in and besiege my capital, having him fighting at Shinuyama, all of that just took more and more time, and it put me too far behind the curve. If we look at I think we can see all the score graphs now. We can. So if we look at all the score graphs, Abyssia, you'll notice, was consistently ahead in provinces since, I think this is around turn 30. In terms of forts, Abyssia was also high, although not all that far above me until I lost a fort there. In terms of income, that's me. I was very, very briefly tops in income. Abyssia was never anywhere close to the top in income, but that's primarily because he was blood hunting, and blood hunting, of course, destroys your income. Now, in terms of gems, I was always mediocre, and Abyssia shot up nearly to the top. This was when he destroyed Ashdod and seized most of Ashdod's gem income, and that was a big improvement for him. Research-wise, research is the thing that Agartha did best. Notice that it didn't actually help them in the end. I attribute that mainly to scripting, to be frank. I think Agartha could have put up more of a fight against Abyssia, but it would have been difficult even so. Agartha, I'm sure, had level 9 in at least a few things by the end of the game. Pythium was keeping up with Agartha in terms of research and quite a bit higher than anybody else. This is when the war against Pythium started, and you can see when they pulled all their mages off research to go fight, how the curvature stopped going exponential and immediately became linear. My line does the same thing. You can see me right there. However, my line was shallower the whole time, and it didn't really lower my rate of increase all that much. Dominion doesn't matter all that much. Agartha was always the leader, with Abyssia second. In terms of research, Abyssia was never even hardly competitive. I mean, they were worse than me for most of the game. Army size, likewise, doesn't matter all that much. That said, the fact that Pythium's army size strongly eclipsed mine through most of our war is a terrible sign, because my infantry is garbage. I should have focused more on spawning helots, to be honest. I should have been going into every battle with 300 or 400 helots past the mid-game, and just laying down crazy buffs on them, which I was not doing. So I was not doing that properly. And then, of course, you can see the ascension points, and this is why I was kind of tricked. Abyssia grabbed some ascension points right at the start, and then just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there and stayed there and stayed there, then boop, and then wham, won the game. And I just didn't see this coming until it was way too late. So, very well played. Yeah, very well played. Also well played to Pythium. I have to say, I'm impressed. Pythium managed to, look at this. This is practically all of their original territory they had at the start of the war, plus territory over here in Uruk. And they held this off against a 3 versus 1 attack from all sides. And they were winning. I mean, they were straight up winning. We were mostly stalemated on my side, but to be blunt, I was stalemated against, maybe half their total military force, while they were beating the crap out of Uruk with a third, and kinda sorta holding off Tianchi at the same time. So, props, dude. You did good. And that concludes Honor. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a ton of fun with this game. I was talking with the Pythian player, Owen1, and he said this is probably, those last 12 turns fighting all three of us were probably the most fun he's ever had in Dominions 5. And I agree, this game was a lot of fun. It was very tense at times. There was a lot of back and forth going on here. I was getting my butt handed to me in terms of scripting, and I feel like I learned a lot, which is definitely valuable. So, thank you so much to all the players for playing. Really enjoyed it. Love to play with you again sometime. Thank you to all my viewers for watching, and I will see you in the next one. If you liked this series, don't worry, more is coming. Obviously, there are still several Dominions 5 multiplayer games going on my channel. There will be more in the future. I will be spreading out into other games a little bit, but not all that much. Dominions 5 is probably going to remain the core of the channel for a long time to come. So thanks for watching. If you really enjoyed it, check out the Patreon, and whether you do or not, I will see you in the next series. Take care.